Geneticist Dr. Marcus Kellerman breaks 20 years of silence about the most controversial project in biotechnology, the creation of the first human-animal hybrid. At 67 years old, the scientist decides to reveal a secret kept for decades. He really managed to create a being that is part human, part animal. It all began in 1998. A mysterious organization invited Dr. Kellerman to a project that promised to revolutionize regenerative medicine. The lab was located in an old abandoned military base in Eastern Europe. It was science fiction, he recalls. Equipment 20 years ahead of its time. Project Chimera, the initial goal was to create human organs in animals for transplantation. Pigs and sheep with human kidneys, livers, and hearts. 12 scientists worked in the first months with pig embryos. They managed to insert human genes to develop compatible organs. The results were surprising. The organs had almost perfect genetic compatibility and would function if transplanted into human patients. In the third phase, everything changed. The experiments took a much more controversial turn. They crossed a line that should never have been crossed. March 2001, during a routine experiment, something impossible happened. A hybrid embryo developed human neurological characteristics. The embryo had brain structures with human neural patterns, reveals Dr. Kellerman. Cognitive complexity never seen in animals. The discovery created a brutal ethical dilemma. They had the key to understanding human consciousness, but faced deep moral questions. After months of intense debates, they made a fatal decision to proceed with a different focus. To create a hybrid that could survive birth. Many will judge me, admits Dr. Kellerman. But we believed we were on the brink of discoveries that would cure neurological diseases. They used experimental gene editing techniques, precursors to today's CRISPR. A combination of human and animal genetic material in the lab. September 23, 2003, Hybrid 1 was born. The first living being to successfully combine human and animal genetic characteristics. We were silent for minutes, he recalls emotionally. It had human characteristics, but different, more penetrating eyes. Hybrid 1 was born weighing 2.8 kilograms with stable vital signs. Tests revealed a perfect cardiovascular system and unique genetic traits. 24-hour monitoring in the first 6 months. Remarkably accelerated development compared to normal human babies. Something extraordinary. Very early motor coordination, reports Dr. Kellerman. At 2 months, it could hold its head up. Reflexes that appear much later. Cognitive development was even more impressive. Hybrid 1 showed a learning ability that exceeded all the team's expectations. At 8 months, it understood commands in 3 languages, Portuguese, English, and German. Languages spoken by the research team members. Absorption capacity superior to human, explains Dr. Kellerman. Photographic memory. Solved problems typical of 3 to 4-year-old children. Unique physical characteristics, proportionally superior strength, heightened senses, remarkably accelerated healing compared to humans. As it grew and developed a personality, the team faced complex ethical dilemmas. It was no longer just science. It was a sentient being. It was no longer an experiment, confesses Dr. Kellerman. It was a being with emotions, fears, joys. This completely changed the nature of the project. The team was divided, some questioned keeping Hybrid 1 in captivity. Others argued it was too important a scientific advancement. At 18 months, a shocking discovery, its brain not only functioned above normal, but was constantly modifying itself in real time. Neural connections were reorganizing themselves, reveals Dr. Kellerman. The brain evolving, creating and eliminating neural pathways as needed. January 2005, at 2 years old, Hybrid 1 demonstrated rudimentary telepathy during cognitive tests. A moment that changed everything forever. It identified objects visualized mentally by a researcher, without visual or auditory cues. It was terrifying and fascinating, he recalls. An emergency meeting was called. We created something beyond our understanding or control, he admits. Telepathic abilities were a reality. The team split, some wanted to continue studies, others advocated for immediate termination. Some feared psychological influence on minds. Some scientists wanted to publish the findings immediately. Others feared a biological arms race between nations. Tensions grew rapidly. Team members reported strange dreams and sensations that their minds were being watched by Hybrid 1 during sleep. After weeks of debate, the most difficult decision was made: the project would be terminated, but not in a way anyone had imagined. The solution would be unique. We couldn't just discard Hybrid 1 like a failed experiment, explains Dr. Kellerman. In every sense, he was a child with rights. The solution they found was to create a completely new identity for Hybrid 1. This included forged documents and a carefully selected and trained adoptive family. Hybrid 1 was placed with a family in a small rural town, far from urban centers. The family knew of his special nature under absolute secrecy. We chose people with backgrounds in special education and psychology, he explains. They knew they were dealing with a child with particular needs. The plan included discreet remote monitoring, unlimited financial support, and intervention only in medical emergencies or in case of exposure. The integration process was surprisingly successful. Hybrid 1 adapted to family life and school, always standing out as gifted. We received regular reports, says Dr. Kellerman. He was the top student, but he learned to hide his more extraordinary abilities. It was as if he intuitively knew he needed to camouflage himself to fit in. He developed normal relationships with other children. Reports indicated that sometimes he demonstrated knowledge of others' thoughts and feelings, going beyond normal human empathy. Dr. Kellerman's confession raises profound questions about the current state of genetic research and possibilities that go beyond public knowledge. What we achieved 20 years ago with primitive technology suggests there may be other, much more advanced, similar projects today, he ponders. During the following years, he was approached by other organizations interested in replicating or expanding his work. All proposals were refused. When asked about Hybrid 1's current whereabouts, now a 22-year-old adult, Dr. Kellerman is reluctant to provide details. All I can say is that he has become a remarkable person, he reveals with a smile. He attends a prestigious university and has a normal social life. On the outside, no one would suspect a thing. But Dr. Kellerman knows that, on the inside, he carries a potential they can barely comprehend even now. The scientist admits he still maintains indirect and sporadic contact, mainly to ensure that he is well and without problems. One of the most disturbing revelations, the suggestion that Hybrid 1 was not the project's only success. Other experiments were conducted. Project Chimera was only part of a much larger program, he hints. There were other facilities, other teams, other research focuses. He doesn't know how many other cases exist, but he suspects they were not the only ones to succeed in creating human-animal hybrids. This revelation suggests the possibility of other hybrids living disguised within society, leading seemingly normal lives with extraordinary capabilities. Dr. Kellerman reveals that the discoveries from Project Chimera were discreetly incorporated into conventional medical research over the years. Genetic manipulation techniques, organ cultivation, biocompatibility, much of it was gradually discovered by other researchers. He suggests that the most significant medical advances of recent decades may have roots in discoveries from experiments like Project Chimera. When asked why reveal this now, Dr. Kellerman cites his old age and a desire not to take these secrets to the grave. At 67 years old, with increasing health problems, I felt the responsibility to tell the truth. The discoveries are too important to remain secret. He expresses concern about the current development of biotechnology and AI, believing that humanity needs to be aware of the dangers. The confession has not yet been widely disseminated within the scientific community, but the initial reactions are fascination, skepticism, and concern. Ethics experts question the morality of the operation. Other geneticists express doubts about the technical feasibility of the experiments. However, others acknowledge that advances in biotechnology have made such experiments not only possible but relatively feasible today. The revelation raises questions about the future of genetic research and the ethical controls necessary to prevent similar experiments. I believe we have reached a point where technology is far ahead of our ethical understanding, observes the concerned scientist. We need serious debates about how far we should go in manipulating human and animal life, Dr. Kellerman warns the world. He suggests there may be other researchers conducting similar experiments at this moment, with much more advanced technology. Concluding his confession, Dr. Kellerman leaves a direct message: I do not ask for forgiveness for what we did, as our intentions were noble. But I am warning humanity that we have crossed an irreversible line. We created intelligent hybrid life, and this changes everything about us. Hybrid One is out there, living among us, and there are probably others. They are the future of human evolution, the scientist reveals. The only question now is whether we will be wise enough to guide this future responsibly, concludes Dr. Kellerman. The confession potentially represents the beginning of a new chapter in human history. The line between human and animal has been permanently blurred. The implications are vast and complex. Questions about civil rights for hybrids and genetic regulation will need to be addressed globally. Meanwhile, somewhere in the world, a 22-year-old young adult continues to live an apparently normal life, unaware of his importance. His mere existence may represent the next step in the evolution of human consciousness. The story of Hybrid One is only the beginning. According to Dr. Kellerman, it is only a matter of time before other similar secrets come to light, changing our understanding of what it means to be human. This revelation marks the beginning of a new era in the discussion of scientific ethics, human evolution, and the future of our species on the planet. The implications of these discoveries will continue to resonate for decades. The world will never be the same after these shocking revelations. Dr. Kellerman admits that during sleepless nights, he wonders if they did the right thing by creating Hybrid One in that secret laboratory. Sometimes I wonder if he knows what he really is, he confesses. If he has memories of the early years or if our integration was complete. The scientist reveals he had nightmares for years after the project was shut down. He dreamed of Hybrid One discovering his true nature. What if he one day discovers the truth? What if he decides to search for his origins? Are we prepared for those consequences? He questions. Dr. Kellerman confesses that they established an emergency protocol in case Hybrid One demonstrated dangerous or uncontrolled behavior. Fortunately, we never needed to use it. He became an exemplary person, kind, intelligent. Perhaps better than many normal humans, he admits. The scientist reveals that Hybrid One chose a career in medicine, ironically. He wants to help people. He has extraordinary empathy with patients. During his medical residency, colleagues noticed his almost supernatural ability to diagnose conditions that other doctors missed, he recounts. Patients felt strangely comfortable with him. As if he truly understood their pain in a way others couldn't, he observes. Dr. Kellerman wonders if Hybrid One's empathic abilities are the result of his telepathic capabilities or genuine human compassion. Perhaps it's a combination of both. He can literally feel the pain of others, making him an extraordinary doctor, the scientist speculates. The most surprising revelation, Dr. Kellerman suspects that Hybrid 1 may be unconsciously influencing others for the better through medicine. Patients he treats have statistically impossible recovery rates. As if his will to heal becomes reality, he reveals. This observation raises a frightening question. To what extent have Hybrid 1's powers developed since he became an independent adult? Dr. Kellerman admits he lost direct contact 2 years ago. I don't know exactly what kind of being he has become at 22 years old. But I am sure he is using his gifts to help humanity. That's how we raised him, with love and noble purpose, he states. The scientist reveals a final secret. He left a sealed letter for Hybrid 1, explaining his origins, in case something happens to him before they meet. The letter is with a trusted lawyer, reveals Dr. Kellerman. If anything happens to me, it will be delivered. He deserves to know the truth. The scientist confesses he chose to reveal the secret publicly because he fears others may try to replicate the experiment with malicious intentions. If dictators or terrorists obtain this technology, they could create super soldiers or biological weapons. The world needs to be prepared, he warns. Dr. Kellerman reveals that governments from several nations have already tried to recruit him for similar military programs. All offers were categorically refused. I received million-dollar offers to recreate Hybrid 1 for military purposes. I refused them all. I am not a creator of monsters, he states firmly. The scientist fears that his public confession could put Hybrid 1 in danger. But silence would be worse. He needs the protection of public opinion. If the world knows he exists and is benevolent, it will be harder for governments or corporations to exploit him as a weapon, a risky strategy. Dr. Kellerman reveals that he established an international trust fund to protect the rights of any hybrids that may emerge in the future. We created a precedent. Others will come. They will need legal protection, civil rights, recognition as sentient beings, he plans ahead. The confession includes a direct appeal to world leaders: do not attempt to replicate our work without considering the profound ethical implications. Hybrid 1 succeeded because he was created with love, not as a weapon. Love made the difference between a monster and a miracle, an important observation. Dr. Kellerman reveals that he documented everything meticulously. Diaries, videos, genetic data, everything is stored in a secure location. If anything happens to me, the documentation will be released to the worldwide scientific community. Knowledge cannot die with me, ensuring continuity. The scientist admits that he sometimes wonders if Hybrid 1 has brothers or sisters he doesn't know about, created by other secret teams. There could be an entire generation of hybrids living normally, unaware of their origins. That thought keeps me awake at night, he confesses. Dr. Kellerman issues a challenge to the scientific community: use this revelation to create ethical guidelines before it's too late. We cannot allow the next generation of hybrids to be created in secret, without ethical oversight or legal protection, an urgent appeal. The scientist reveals that Hybrid 1 may not be entirely human in appearance, but he is more human in character than most people. He has compassion, empathy, and a sense of justice more developed than anyone I've known. Perhaps this is natural evolution, a profound reflection. Dr. Kellerman speculates whether Hybrid 1's positive characteristics are the result of a unique genetic combination or careful upbringing with love. Perhaps the next step in human evolution is not about physical strength, but about emotional and telepathic capacity, a revolutionary theory. The scientist admits he feels a paternal pride for Hybrid 1, despite the ethical dilemmas. He's like the son I never had, he confesses emotionally. Sometimes I wonder if he will seek me out one day. If he will want to meet his scientific father. I am prepared for that meeting, a hope. Dr. Kellerman reveals that he keeps an apartment ready in case hybrid one needs a safe shelter if his identity is discovered. I have escape routes planned, fake identities prepared. If the world turns against him, I will be ready to protect him. Loyalty. The scientist confesses his greatest fear. What if we created a being so superior that one day it decides normal humans are obsolete? Are we prepared? But I know his character. He will protect us, not replace us. He was created to save lives, not to destroy them. Confidence. Dr. Kellerman reveals that he has plans for a second public meeting if the first one is well received by global society. There are other secrets, other discoveries the world needs to know. This is just the first of many necessary revelations, a promise. The scientist makes a final appeal: do not fear hybrid one or others like him. They are our children, our future, our hope. If we welcome them with love and understanding, they will guide us to an era of healing and peace we never imagined possible, an optimistic vision. But if we reject or exploit them, they could become our downfall. The choice is ours. Dr. Marcus Kellerman's final warning to the world.